Hello. If you're able to, please close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Take another deep breath in. And another breath out. You could open your eyes now. My name is David, and welcome to Mindful Moments. It's good to be here again. Hope you're well. By the time you hear this, it will be October. Changing of the seasons. October, I feel, is well and truly autumn. And there's been the change of the weather that comes towards the latter stages of September, beginning of October, where it starts to be cold in the morning. My feet are cold in the morning. I'm an early riser, by the way. I'm a big morning person. Take of that what you will. But I'm a big morning person. I like to get up early. I like the few hours in the morning when my time is still my own before the rest of the world wakes up. So really, the earlier I can get myself to get up, the better. My ideal sleeping time is 10:30 to 6:30. That's my ideal 8 hours. Not always feasible because of schedules, etc. But 10:30 to 6:30, that's my ideal sleeping time. But yes, in the mornings when I wake up, my feet are cold. It's a little bit chilly. I refuse to turn on the heating. Far too early for all of that. You need to put layers on before you turn on the heating, but we're getting there. However, it's cold in the morning, and then in the afternoon it warms up again. It's even been sunny. So sometimes I wake up in the morning, plan what I'm going to wear for the rest of my day, plan something warm because I've been deceived by the coolness of the morning, and then it gets to the afternoon and I'm boiling hot. You would think after experiencing this climate for my entire life, I wouldn't be surprised by these things when they come up every year. Yet here I am. However, I do actually quite enjoy that because it means that life keeps surprising us. No matter how many times we think we've got everything figured out, things come along and we have to learn lessons again. I love it. Keeps things interesting, keeps things exciting. Speaking of life, for the past few weeks, it hasn't been lost on me that every week I've started by saying I've got a really busy week. I've been really busy. And I have been very busy recently. And last week's episode was on insecurity. And I concluded that episode with the thought that perhaps I need to be kinder to my current self. Now, I'm not sure how aware I've made everyone of this, but when I finish recording every week, usually every single time I record an episode, I'll have said things that I hadn't realized, I hadn't thought through properly. So I've always given myself something to reflect on. And last week's reflection was a big one that I need to be kinder to myself and see, and be better able to see the things I'm doing correctly now and give myself credit for those things. And that was a real can of worms. I didn't expect it to be a can of worms. I thought it would be something that I acknowledged, and then I was able to do that quite easily and look at the ways that I'm succeeding, etc. But I didn't realize quite how bad I've become at always feeling like I need to be doing something better. In saying that out loud and acknowledging it, I realized that I've been experiencing a real low level but constant anxiety for the past few months because I always feel like there's something else I need to be doing. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about how life in general, but especially adult life can be so overwhelming. There's always a task. In adulthood, there's always a task. There's always something that needs doing. And I really want to talk about that. Being and feeling overwhelmed. The ways I'm going to try to tackle being overwhelmed. And because this isn't actually a new thought, I've had this thought before. I just didn't realize how much how oblivious I was to how much I'm putting pressure on myself at the moment. I want to talk about the things I've done before and the things that I'm doing to combat that feeling of always feeling like I need to be doing better, I need to be doing more. So, I'm an adult. I'm overwhelmed. What can we do about it? That's what I want to talk about today. I have very high standards for myself, as is hopefully clear. That's come through a combination of factors. My parents are really good, have always pushed me to do the best that I can, to push myself to the limits of my capabilities. The people I respect and admire most in the world are people who I perceive to do those same things. And although we don't always get what we deserve in life, and life isn't exactly a meritocracy, I do believe in the virtues of working hard, putting yourself in the right places, doing the best that you can. And when you do the best that you can, you get the best that you get. It's not a 100% surefire equation, but it gives you the best odds. So I always try to absolutely do my best. Somewhere in that, I feel like that has become, I always have to be perfect. There's always something you can improve, which used to be a motivating statement to me, has now become, there is so much you need to improve. You're always so far from perfect. And therefore, you need to be working harder. And I don't like that. I don't like that there's been a switch in that. I don't know exactly where. It was probably a gradual thing that became a thing, but that's really how I feel. And when I say this, I don't mean this in a grand scheme of things. I don't mean this in the large scale of my life's ambitions and my goals and dreams. I'm talking on the most micro levels. Life can be very overwhelming because I'm always thinking of things that need to be done and things that I could be doing better. So if I start on the most micro of levels, in my day-to-day life, just me, not even including anybody else. In my day-to-day life, I think, have I done the laundry? And when I say have I done the laundry, that's my clothes. But when was the last time you washed the bed sheets? When was the last time you did the towels? Have you bleached the whites? Have you conditioned? Have you fabric softened? On top of the laundry, how well am I cleaning? Have I cleaned? Have I, on top of daily hoovering and daily dusting, when was the last time I mopped and deep cleaned the floors? Have I done that every week? Have I deep cleaned the oven? Have I cleaned the extractor fan filters? Have I made sure that the drains are all clear? On top of that, I have, when you bring in other people, I have my social life. Have you checked on this friend? Have you messaged so-and-so and made sure they're okay? When was the last time you saw X person and Y person and Z person? In terms of work, am I dealing with everything on my to-do list? When was the last time I outreached? When was the last time that I did? There's just always a to-do list in every area of my life. Exercise. Are you pushing yourself hard enough in the gym? Are you pushing yourself too hard in the gym? Have you been doing mobility? Have you been doing stretching? Have you been doing enough weight work? Have you been doing enough endurance? Have you been doing enough sprinting? There's always an area of me that needs to be improved. And I feel like I might have turned this constant desire for improvement and to have a better life and to be better to me and the people around me. Sometimes it becomes a stick for me to beat myself with. There's this level of thing you haven't done. You haven't done this. You haven't done this to this extent. You haven't done this yet. It's interesting because, first of all, no one's watching me. No one really is holding me to these high standards but myself. I have to make that perfectly clear. It's not external sources telling me you're not good enough at this, this, and this. It's me always feeling like I have to be better. But on top of that, it's not that I think that those things are bad things. All of those ultimately are things that I want for myself. And that's been a recent development. I feel like in recent years, I've really been able to separate what I think are other people's expectations and desires of me from my own expectations and desires of myself. It can be very easy to always feel overwhelmed, always feel like you need to be doing something more and need to be doing something extra because other people are putting that expectation on you, your friends, your family, etc. So I feel very fortunate in that I can sit here and very clearly say that all of these things are things that I want done and I want to be doing myself. It's not that anyone's making me feel like I need to be doing those things. At the same time, it being an internal pressure does make it a little bit harder to deal with sometimes because I think, how do I cut myself that slack? How do I accept the things that I want? How do I accept that I want big things for myself and I want to be pushing myself? But at the same time, there's only so much that one person can do at any time. Sometimes I've had that thought. I've had that, okay, there's only so much that any one person can do. But it comes at a point of breakdown. It comes at a point where I'm so overwhelmed that suddenly I have to stop completely. And then I think, it's okay to stop completely because there's only so much one person can do. But I'd like that to be a more ongoing thought process as I feel anxious about the things I'm supposed to be doing. And ultimately, looking at life that way means that I'm not enjoying things as much as I should be. When I've done 80% of the cleaning, I'm not enjoying the fact that things are largely clean. I'm thinking about the 20% of things that I could have done more recently or haven't quite been done. I actually had that quite literal example with the laundry the other day. The laundry basket was empty. I'd done every single piece of laundry there was to do. And then I realized that I was going to have to wash the clothes I was wearing. It actually made me laugh out loud because I thought, now you're being ridiculous because what am I supposed to do? Walk around with no clothes just so I can say every single piece of my clothing is clean. It's not going to happen. Life never really stands still. So nothing is ever going to be absolutely perfect. I think that's really that's the thought I need to start meditating on and thinking on and really ingratiating into my daily thought processes, is that nothing can ever be 100% perfect. Very logical, very obvious, but somehow very easy to forget at the same time. Nothing can ever be 100% perfect. If I want something to always be done, that means I'm going to always have to be doing it for it to be constantly done. For something to be constantly done, I always have to be doing it. And I don't want to constantly be doing some things. I don't want to be constantly by the washing machine, wearing clothes and putting them in the washing machine and wearing clothes and putting them in the washing machine. I can't do that. And that's ridiculous. Saying that is ridiculous. That's why I like talking about these things out loud sometimes, because sometimes when you vocalize something, you realize how ridiculous the thought is. And you realize, right, this isn't really anything that should have any power over me. I can't constantly be doing every single thing that I want to be doing. And therefore, not everything I want to be done can always be done. I can't always take care of every single task, and there will always be tasks. I just have to find some level of acceptance of those tasks being undone. That's the conclusion I've come to. And there are areas in which I think I'm much better. I'm much better at doing that. It takes a level of just realism, I think, and a level of acceptance. A good example is my Apple Watch. So I wear my Apple Watch all the time. I wear my Apple Watch all the time, other than when I'm showering, when I cook, when I clean. Those are the 3 times that I don't wear my Apple Watch. Even like you can even wear it when you swim. So even when I swim, I wear it. And on your Apple Watch, you have 3 rings. You have stand, which is basically having to stand for a minute within an hour. You have calories and you have exercise. And you set those goals for a given week, for any given week. So you set your goals for the week of what you want. And my goals have been the same throughout this year. My stand goal, my exercise goal, and my calorie goal are all very achievable things. Like they're all very achievable to complete. And especially when I was doing 75 hard, for example, I was doing 300% of each of those because I was doing so much physical activity. The thing is that every day I'm not going to do that level of physical activity. When I first got this watch, I would set my exercise goal to like an hour. I would set my stand goal to 16 hours. So I want to have stood up for 16 hours of the day. And my calorie goal to something like 900 calories. I want to burn 900 calories a day, active calories, not just general calories, 900 active calories a day. And that's all of that. That's a very high activity day. That's like 2 hours of gym a day to achieve that. And obviously I wasn't going to be doing that every day. And every day I wasn't doing that, I was thinking, I haven't been active enough. I haven't closed these rings. I haven't finished the task I was supposed to do. Now I close my rings every single day. I think the last day I didn't close my rings was back in April. And that means that some days I go way over what I'm supposed to do or what the target I've set myself to do. And I have to remind myself that I set that as a realistic target rather than an idealistic target. And that is a small example that is helping me in the rest of the things that I do in terms of being realistic instead of being idealistic. Having big ideas and big goals and big dreams are all fantastic things. And I will never regret those being the case. I'll never regret looking at life that way. But I have let things get away from me a little bit, and I've forgotten to be more realistic with myself, what I can expect to be done. In an ideal world, I never ever go to bed with dishes in the sink. It's one of my green flags. I love to clean up as I go, and I want this to be clear when I go to bed. However, there might be a day where I've worked very late, I've had to exercise, and recently I've been really trying to work on getting more deep sleep. So I've been really trying to keep my bedtimes and wake up times very structured and regimented. So there might be too many dishes for me to do and get to bed on time. And then I have to make a choice. And then I feel like I'm not living life well enough because I didn't make time to do both of those things at once. I didn't make time to fit everything into my schedule. But I'm not an island. I don't exist in a vacuum. Things go on around me. And sometimes you have to adapt to life. Sometimes not everything is going to be done in the absolute perfect way. And that isn't something that should cause me to lose sleep. How am I supposed to hit my deep sleep goal otherwise? Really, I'm in a place where I need to make sure that I do apply realism to the things that I'm doing. Otherwise, I will get too overwhelmed. Noticing that I had that low level anxiety wasn't a nice realization, but it was a very necessary one. I'm glad that I've clocked it because it's something that I really, really want to devote some time and attention to fixing. I've been in that kind of cycle before, and all that's going to happen is that I know I'm going to eventually become burned out. And then even when I rest and have to rest, I'm not even going to be able to rest properly because mentally that anxiety will still be ticking and it will still be burning and I'll still be worrying. So in the coming weeks, I'm going to work very hard on acceptance and being realistic as to what's really expected of me as an adult. Life can be very difficult for many circumstances that are out of our control. As much as I want to push myself and make the most of my abilities and achieve the things I want to achieve, I have to be realistic in my day-to-day and accepting of the fact that I can't always do everything I want to do perfectly all the time. It's only with that kind of care and understanding that I'll be able to work sustainably towards the things I want to do and towards the bigger picture. As long as I'm trying my hardest every day, and as long as I'm completing most of the things I want to do, that's more than enough. Absolutely more than enough. And of course, all of those standards are my own. The buck starts and stops with me. So if I can't give myself that grace, who can? Who can I expect to? I'm going to try my best to be accepting and to make sure that I'm realistic in my expectations of myself whilst reaching for all the things I want to do. I'll check back in on that. But trust me, I'm going to do my best. Thanks very much for listening to me sound that out. I really needed to. I really, really needed to. Feels like a bit of an epilogue from last week's episode. But that's what I needed to get out today. So, as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Whatever you're doing this week, I hope you have a wonderful one.